Welcome back to the Real Podcast. I'm Dan,
I'm Drew.
and today we're talking about rock bottom, which I'm sure a lot of us have been there. Hopefully, you haven't had to experience that. And if you haven't yet, we're hopefully going to give some life lessons and tips on how to deal with it and how to escape from it.
Or prevent it.
Yeah, or prevent it. See the signs coming before they get here.
Yeah.
Because that's the best way to deal with rock bottom is not
don't
get there.
Don't go there.
Yeah. So how do you get to rock bottom, Drew? How would you say?
Why are you asking me? I've been there. I at one point have lost pretty much everything but my clothes. And I had a car because my papa bought me one, but not because I had the money or a job to get one. In a matter of 3 weeks, just to sum up the entire story, even though I could talk for hours about it, I went through a divorce. I lost my job. I lost my vehicle, my house, had to file bankruptcy. So I lost all of my assets as well. And I was reduced to nothing. I lived with my parents for a little bit and I just had to get away. So I did precisely that. I ran away. That was a good time in my life. I learned a lot during that time, I found out when I came back from my running away that it didn't really solve anything. I still had to deal with the problems.
No, yeah. Suffering is the seed of change, and it can be a catalyst or it can be what destroys you. And it's up to you to choose how you respond to that event. Either you can let it be the motivation and the drive and the reason you can reinvent yourself into who you really want to be, or you can let it cripple you and devastate you for months to years.
So I like to be mysterious,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to answer the question until after I say this.
Okay.
How do you get there? That is the question of that. So I spent a little while there, not long. It was uncomfortable enough that I tried to do something about it fairly quickly. But I would say that the way that I got there is from the decisions that I made. And I didn't begin climbing out until I was willing to accept that. That's the most important part of that is the decisions I made put me there, absolutely. And if you're able to accept responsibility for those decisions, then it's not condemning yourself. It's accepting responsibility with the intent of finding the solution.
Yeah.
Because you can't find a solution to something you don't even have a responsibility for.
And
there's no point.
Taking the fault stings. It does not feel good. It's a sour, bitter taste. But
it's humbling.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from a place of pride.
Mm-mm.
And it's dangerous to be prideful. If you don't humble yourself, then you will be humbled. It happened to me.
Yeah. So I agree. It's a pattern of self-destructive behavior.
Yeah, self-destructive decisions that you make.
Yes.
Stupid and self-destructive decisions.
With no regard to your future self or anyone else around you.
Right.
Living for your immediate self right now.
Momentary satisfaction.
Momentary satisfaction. Decisions like that are what get you to rock bottom, making them in quick succession over and over and over. And that's how you can quickly find yourself at rock bottom. Me personally, I wouldn't say I've ever hit rock bottom. I've definitely spiraled down and fell on my face, but not to the extent that you did, losing everything.
And also, you all should understand that rock bottom is different for everybody.
Right.
Dan is an optimistic person, and I am not.
That's
I am
true.
a pessimistic person. So I wholeheartedly believe that I have hit rock bottom before because I was stripped of everything that I had. Could it have been worse? Absolutely. It wasn't, and I know that what I did go through freaking sucked. It was horrible. The most miserable time of my life.
My rock bottom, it was not a rock bottom at all, actually, but it was definitely the fruit of my decisions throughout life. And I know that, and that is what led me to change myself into a better me than I've ever been before. And although I haven't hit rock bottom, I've seen plenty of family and loved ones and friends go through it. And so I have the perspective on an onlooker or a loved one who's trying to help. And just, man, it is a crazy feeling watching someone hit rock bottom and and they just don't want to admit they're on rock bottom, and
Well,
you're
you can't help them because they won't help themselves.
right.
Because I was there. Everyone tried to help me, but I wasn't helping myself at that time. So it didn't matter what anyone did. It went in one ear and out the other.
Yeah, and
Literally. I didn't want to hear it.
it makes you feel helpless as the onlooker too. You're like, I want to pour love and help and support into you, and they just throw it off. So it's a tough position to be in. It's not the same as rock bottom, but it's um, hopefully you can take some of these uh, life lessons away to help someone if you see them heading for rock bottom, so you can help them defend against the inevitable.
Yeah.
Um, so
So how do you not go there? You make better decisions starting today. You can't change the ones that you've made
so
in the
easily
past.
said.
It is so easily said, and it sounds way too simple for it to be that true. To just like if I start making better decisions today, then maybe I won't hit rock bottom. But it really is that simple. We nuke things, man. We complicate things so much as human beings. We complicate the crap out of stuff. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Just make the decision that you're going to do something that's good for you and not bad for you. Go to the gym instead of the pizza buffet. That is a non-self-destructive decision. That's something that is going to benefit your future. And I've heard it said before that your life is going to be hard at some point, but we get the luxury of choosing when that is. Most of us just make the faulty mistake of choosing that our life will be harder later.
Yeah, you live easy now, and you're gonna have to pay those bills and live a hard life later.
Yeah. So your life can be easy now and hard later, or it can be hard now and easy later. And it's entirely up to the decisions that you make. It's up to you to decide what it's going to be.
And I can understand the concept of being a dealt hand, but it's how you choose to respond and react to that dealt hand, or whether you were prepared for that dealt hand. I mean, some dealt hands you can't prepare for, but some of them you can. And if, let's use like the economy, for example, we had a friend who complained about not being able to go eat out for lunch every day at work anymore. And it's like, yeah, that sucks, man. But I mean, just because the prices on food went up, I mean, you should have prepared for, not prepared, you should have prepared for that. You should have had the expectation that you couldn't live this easy and lazy, laxy lifestyle.
History is important for a reason, and we know that inflation is going to happen because it always has. Since the beginning of time, inflation has happened. Things used to cost a chicken and a few pieces of bread, and then back in the 70s, people were buying houses for that balloon pop game with the dart at the fair. They're like, "You want a 3-bedroom?" Wow, really? Yeah, and they're selling them this year for $600,000. Inflation happens. It's going to continue happening. You're going to pay taxes no matter how much you don't want to. You're going to pay them because they're just going to come take them. They don't ask for it. They'll just take it. So everyone experiences that the same way. And I think it's important that we don't get to a point where we are just becoming a victim of what is being done unto us, and that's our perception of it.
Right. If you led yourself to become the victim without escape.
And there's the concept of good and evil. And even in popular culture, we know that good wins.
Yeah.
So good decisions over evil decisions are how you win.
Right. And if you choose to live your life so liberally and, or as we were saying, easy, and making decisions that are easy now, and you're going to get, eventually down the road, you're going to get caught in the mouth. You're going to get slapped right in the mouth and not expect it or see it coming, because you weren't prepared. You were living without intention for the future.
I didn't see it coming.
Oh, yeah. How do you?
I got home and my life, as I knew it, was over. Yeah. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I just got home and my life was over. So something had to change.
Yeah. And so that's our experiences, or viewed experiences, of rock bottom. And we'd like to talk about how you even get out of rock bottom, if you are there, because it's a hopeless, out of control feeling. And it is something that.
But it's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
The root of that sentence is it is a feeling.
Yeah. There's always actions to be taken. And it's all it takes is a little step. a little step at a time to get back. And I know it's easy to say, well, you don't understand what I'm going through. And sure, I might not have the same situation as you, or Drew might not have the same situation that you went through, but we can empathize, and we know how hard life can suck, and we've been in the suck, and we've embraced it before.
I
And
listened to a podcast, and that started a chain of events, or a snowball effect, where me listening to a podcast on a Monday morning on the way to work because it popped up. I just saw it and I was like, huh, I'm going to listen to this podcast. And it was a self help podcast. And I'd listened to other podcasts before. Like I liked hunting podcast. I like um, true crime podcast. Those I enjoyed listening to those.
mm-hmm.
And so I found this self help podcast and I was like, I'm going to check this out because I feel awful, horrible.
Yeah.
So something in here might help me. And then I listened to it on Wednesday, and then I listened to it on Friday. And I did that again the next week, and I kept listening to it. And then one day I was like, huh, I've gotten pretty fat. I think I'm going to go to the gym. I haven't worked out in a decade. So I went to the gym, and I had fun, and I liked it, and I kept going to the gym. So you do get the snowball effect of just making a decision to do something, even if it is opening a drawer in your kitchen and imagining how you would reorganize that
How
drawer.
would you
just
clean
imagining it? When you are at rock bottom as a person, you don't have the luxury of saying this is what needs to be done, because when things are so bad in your life, it seems that to get up and deal with the pile of laundry that's laying in the chair, or to wash the dishes that are in your sink, just to do that task is going to start a chain reaction of events that is going to lead to you having to work your ass off to fix the dark cloud that's over your life, or the storm that you've created. And that is precisely what happens. You're exactly right about that. It's what's going to happen. But
You have to try.
you have to do it. You can't just lay down and take it. Like, you have to do it because I'm telling you, you have to do it. If that's where you're at, then listen to me. You have to do it, because what's on the other side of it is so much fucking better than what you had before anyway.
Yeah.
You are not starting over. You're starting from the most experience that you can have. So derive your wisdom from the mistakes that you've made, and don't make those mistakes again.
Don't treat it as a hopeless, bottomless pit of despair. Treat it as a clean slate. You have
It's
a
new
fresh
beginning.
foundation, and you can restart. You have the potential to work back and build this new tower of who you want to be any way you like. But you have to try. You have to do something. Get up, do your dishes, do the laundry, try. Go to the gym once, work out, go on a walk. You don't have to go lift weights and go extreme and get a home gym. Go on a walk. Do anything to change your norm so that you can start on the path to your new norm and who you want to be. And where we're going with this, that is all great, but the real thing that pulls you out of this pit of despair that is rock bottom,
The inner work, what you do in your mind,
is finding your purpose and your identity. That is the key thing to pull you or drive you out. And how would you say you find that?
Not to be confused with passion either.
Right.
Short side story, because I do this all the time. I really like to fish. I love bass fishing. I fished a lot after I hit rock bottom. After I fished all the time. I picked up a couple sponsors, and I had the opportunity that I could have made some money fishing. And I didn't like it. Like, it wasn't fun anymore, because
You took your purpose and
I took my passion and I made it a job. I turned it into, well, I have to catch fish if I want this sponsor or this level of sponsorship. Like, I still only get 40% off right now. If I want to get it for free, then I have to catch this fish. And it was a job.
Mm-hmm.
So don't mistake your purpose or your identity for your passions. Not that your passion can't be that. If they do coincide, that's up to you to figure out. Mine did not. So, I like to ask myself questions. So I will tell you the 4 questions that I ask myself to find my purpose. And they have to be done in this order. And you have to give yourself enough time to answer them. So the first question you ask to find that identity is, what is real?
Yeah.
To you, not what is real to the world, but to you, what does this mean? What is real? The second question is, what is the good life? To you, once again. So you answer, what is the good life to me? What does that look like? What things do I have? What material things do I have? What does my family look like? What does my relationship with everyone around me look like? What is the nature of my heart in the good life?
Yeah.
How do you answer that question? Or what would your answer be? The third question is, what makes you a good person? You specifically, once again, what makes you a good person? And most importantly, and in the end, the last question you ask is, what are my thoughts on God?
Yeah.
And if you don't like me saying that, I don't really care, but that's what I believe. If you don't want to believe that, I'm not telling you that you have to. What are your thoughts on that spiritual realm? So,
and it's like, man, if you haven't figured this out and haven't gotten yourself out of your hole, what's next? You know, that's next. Is something bigger than yourself is asking, well, maybe I should give that a try. If you look at like any testimony of like big celebrities online and like when they were doing lives of drugs and when they all hit rock bottom,
they had an identity crisis.
They had an identity crisis.
They had everything and they didn't know who they were.
Gosh, you look at all these celebrities that killed themselves when us normal people are looking at them like, wow, they're on top of the world, and they feel like they're alone on top of the world and they can't figure it out. And so the only way they feel like they can go is to kill themselves.
If you tap into that spiritual realm, I promise you that you will find an identity there. It may not be the one that you want. It usually isn't the one that you want. It's usually the opposite of what you want, but you'll find an identity there. If you have searched your entire life and not found an identity anywhere, then look for an identity in God.
Yeah. Like, what else do you have to lose at that point?
Don't have the crisis. You don't have to do that. Look for your identity there. If you can answer those 4 questions, though, then it will pull you out of rock bottom. And that will serve as the firm foundation to rebuild the rest of your life on.
Right. That clean slate we're talking about.
Yeah.
That rock bottom can be a wonderful start if you let it be. If you put that perspective in your mind for it to be a good start, it can be.
You're starting on a rock and not on just soil.
Yeah.
Because topsoil moves around a lot. We know that.
Yeah. Gosh, when you go out on your own and you find out the things your parents taught you and raised you to think, like, isn't what it all cracked up to be, and you take a step and you realize they were wrong, and then you fall flat on your face because you just believe something your parents told you your whole life. Gosh, that's a sucky feeling.
Yeah. But what about the parable of the 3 little pigs? Which one's house didn't get blown down?
One built on bricks, baby.
Yep. So take that into consideration. We learned these nursery rhymes for a reason. There's lessons in them. There's lessons in there.
Maybe not all of them.
Maybe.
But most of them.
If there is one, then learn it.
Yeah, like Humpty Dumpty. Man, if when you dig into Humpty, gosh.
He wasn't an egg, if you didn't know that. It never said that he was an egg.
I mean, you're right.
Thank you guys for tuning in today. Yeah. This is something that's really close to my heart just because I've been there. I would like to say that if you are there, reach out to us in the comments below or shoot us a message, because I'll come meet you there. I will meet you there, because it's a shitty place to be, man. And if you feel like you're alone, you don't have to be. I've been there and I'm not there now. So I'm a great testament that you can get out of it as well. I'm not special. I'm just a person like everybody else. If
you need to put down the shovel and stop digging the hole deeper, I'll come take it from you.
Yeah.
Or throw you a rope, or at least say some nice things to you on your way out. Out of the hole.
That's what people need.
Yeah.
Is love.
So that's our message for today. I hope you took some value from it and can apply it to your life or someone else you know and love. So until next time, let's be a little bit better and a little more real.